my wife.
Well, thank you for all being here as we get our seats. At this time, I'd like to recognize and thank Dr. Herb Hester, Interim Pastor at First Baptist Church in Hillsboro. He's going to lead our invocation, and he needs to leave right after this. You're welcome to stay, Brother Herb. But yeah, he's got to leave, so I appreciate him being here. So he can leave. We'll release him right after this prayer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Father, thank you for the privilege to stand in this room with these folks. And I want to thank you for them. I thank you so much for the fact that I know that it takes time and effort for them to accomplish good things that we need. And Father, I know it takes hours, though I don't understand how many. I thank you for them tonight. I thank you for our mayor, our sheriff, this commission. Father, as I have a moment to just pray with them, I thank you for the privilege. And I guess what I would like to ask for them, Father, is that they be like the men that the Bible talks about in relationship to David. The Bible tells us there was a group of those men from Issachar. And it makes a powerful statement about them that's so simple. And this is what I pray for this group. It says they understood the times and they knew what to do. Father, we recognize that knowledge and wisdom are two totally different things. We must gain knowledge. But wisdom comes to the point of understanding what it really is and then knowing what to do with it. And the truth is, real knowledge and real wisdom has its root in you. And so tonight, this is my prayer for them. For wisdom to overshadow each one of them in every area of their life, and then as they apply their lives to this task in these days. I cannot begin to understand the challenge, but I thank you that you know it from beginning to end. So I pray for these folks tonight. Not just their meeting tonight, Lord, but in the days ahead, in their personal lives, in their business lives, and in this life. I lift them to you in the precious name of Jesus. And I ask this in his name. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Herb. And on a couple of occasions, he's invited me to his office over time, over the years, and I pray with him. I'm forever appreciative of that. Thank you. At this time, I'll ask David Ork if he would lead us in our pledge.
Place the flag, my hand over your heart, repeat after me. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. At this time, we will have our roll call, and I would mention that I want to thank Don and Cindy, our IT professionals, for the little training session we had a while ago. We had in front of us. And those I think that title were not. So you have a little roll call booklet in front of you, so if you would return to that, and if you need, as we go through this, and you turn your phones on, if you need any help, please raise your hand if you have any questions, and Cindy and Donald will give you that. It's a very simple process, you get that, anyway, but it's simple, but I appreciate that. So if you have any questions, the five that we're not trying to raise your hand and go through this. So I guess at this time, I turn over to Cindy for instructions on both are already in our training session are already on roll call. This time we have a roll call. We've got a full team tonight. Thank y'all for all being here. Well, thank the folks for being here tonight. this time I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda. Before I do that, we'll make one minor notation. On item 10A, that's got down resolution 2019-11. Actually, we don't have to have a letter on that. So we've got a letter regarding the investment grade audit. And we don't have a resolution to approve that. So I will make that one cosmetic change there. We have a letter from Brian that you have in your packet. So we won't have to approve that as a resolution. So, yes. Pardon? Yes, we're moving that number down to G. Thank you, Joe. That'll be resolution will be on animal control, revised SOP. That'll be resolution 2019-11. Okay. So with those two slight amendments, we have a motion to approve the agenda. We have a, I'm going to see you make a motion. Thank you, Todd. Make a motion. Do we have a second? Thank you, Jim. Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for vote. Look at all those wonderful machines right in front of me. Well, I didn't. I thought I'd already logged in earlier. Okay. Oh, okay, present. I just said present. Gotcha. Thank you. Technology great when it works. We're going to test it right here in front of us now. Thank you for all being here. Now we're voting on a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you, Sam. This is teamwork in action. Motion to approve the agenda.
Our motion and our second. Now we're going to, now this is on the agenda.
Yes, now you're now voting on the agenda. We have to approve the agenda. Second by Ray. Discussion? There being none, let's vote please. Voting on approving the amendment, item number 6.
Number 7, resolutions, memorials, and commendation. I don't know of any, so we'll go to number 8. Elections, appointments, and confirmations. A, notaries.
Motion by Lynn, thank you, Lynn. Lynn's on track today. Got a second by Mike, okay, thank you. Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you.
8B, equalization board.
I'm nominating Mr. Lee Sullivan to be nominated to that 5-person board. Mr. Crownover had been there, he will now be the alternate, and Mr. Lee Sullivan, I'm submitting his name for approval for the 5th person on the equalization board. Those are positioned for every 2 years, and next April in 20, all 5 of them will be voted on again. So Mr. Sullivan is replacing Mr. Crownover, he's moved as alternate, so I'm submitting the name of Lee Sullivan on the equalization board. Have a motion? Motion second. Discussion. Discussion? There being none, let's vote please. And those 5 members, they're going into state required training later on. As a requirement. Okay. Motion carries.
8C, rural solid waste sanitation committee.
I'm placing nominate Mr. Denny Slump to serve on that position. Mr. Kerry Farrar, a commissioner, had been serving that role. His term is up in June. We've got to have a rural commissioner to fill that role, so I'm nominating Mr. Denny Slump to take that place, that position in June. So, have a motion? I'm moving on, I must be hungry. Get out here. Any discussion? There being none, let's vote please. Thank you. All right.
8D, judicial commissioner.
We've lost a part-time judicial commissioner, and law enforcement reviewed this last week. Mr. Bobby put this on the table for law enforcement, and the name of Travis Reed, placing that in nomination for a part-time judicial commissioner that has the law enforcement. So have a motion. Discussion. There being none, let's vote please. Okay, thank you.
8E, other. I don't know if any.
Okay, on unfinished business, one of the commissioners asked me to, last night in caucus, to, at the first June meeting, to put on the table for discussion of the sewer issue at 105 for discussion in the June meeting. So I just want to alert you to that. That'll be on the agenda for the June 11th meeting. Okay?
do that thing with the motion?
Just want to share,
Or you share?
read that, Joe? That'll be on in June, so that'll be on the agenda in June. Just want to give you a heads up on that, that'll be on the table for discussion in your first June meeting. And in June, for this committee, sure, we have 2 meetings in June, and the 11th and in that first meeting, we'll place on the table the budget for your consideration, for your review. We're going to have the meeting handout, and then we'll review that, and then at the second meeting, which we'll vote on the full budget. Okay?
Okay, we'll go to number 10, new business. Approval to proceed with train investment grade audit.
That's been vetted, as you know, with the capital outlay, and I think it's been reviewed twice with budget and finance. And you have in your packet a letter in the training packet for your review on that, and you're voting today on the final audit, the investment grade audit. I guess that's what you call it. And Norman's here to represent training if you have any questions. But you're voting today on the investment grade audit, and the fee on that, the cost on that is about $42,000 some odd dollars. So in your letter, as it states, if you approve that, then the cost of that will be incorporated into the final package. If you do not approve that, then the county, of course, that will rest on the county with that $42,000. So you're approving tonight the letter to proceed with the investment grade audit. So with that in mind, do I have a motion to approve the letter as a motion? We got a motion? And we got a second? Thank you. Discussion. Any discussion?
I like this.
Okay. Let's call for the vote, please. All in favor of the approval of the investment grade audit? Let's vote. Everyone, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. You're welcome to stay. If you didn't go, that's fine. You're welcome. So thank you all for your vote on this commission.
10B, budget amendments for schools.
And that letter, by the way, will be put on my letterhead, and then I'll go ahead and sign that.
The first one is for the general purpose school fund. It's 141, 2019-3. It's approved by the Budget and Finance Committee, I believe on April 30th. There were no changes to fund balance. The second one is for the cafeteria fund, 143, 2019-2. Also approved on April 30th. No change to fund balance on that either. They're just transfers. The motion.
So thank you, Grant, for presenting those budget amendments. So at this time, we have a motion to approve. Second. Thank you. Discussion. As I said, this has been thoroughly vetted by Budget and Finance already. So let's vote, please. There being no discussion. Well, yes, okay. This time I'm going to do something a little differently. Since Mariana had part of the program thus far, at this point, I'm going to recognize Russ Riggin, our newly elected representing Coffee County in the Southern Akron Ward. So he has a little something he wants to present at this time. So at this time, Russ, will you come forward?
Well, it's great to be here. It's been a while, and y'all look great. And again, I miss you guys, but I'm glad y'all are doing the people's business in the county. And again, I've been really honored to try to do the people's business in Nashville for y'all. So anyway, I didn't hear tonight for a special recognition, and it really, Mariana needs to be especially recognized, but it really applies to all the department heads, even the sheriff. of the county. Because what this is, and this is from the comptroller of the Treasury of the state of Tennessee, recognizing Coffee County for a completely clean audit for the year ending 2018. And that, a completely clean audit is a fairly rare event. I don't know what percent, but it's a small percentage of counties in the state that gets through an audit without findings.
And there were only 12 this year.
Thank you. The 12 out of 95. Now, of course, they asked me, and I said they just didn't drill down hard enough, but that's just an old CPA joke. But anyway, I would like to present this certificate to Mary Ann and the mayor, and afterwards, I'd like to get a picture with y'all. But Mary Ann is well deserved.
Thank you very much for doing that, and I'm telling you folks, this takes a tremendous amount of effort. Mary and I, we touch base quite often, on the budget, the audit, whatever, and she just shared with me yesterday that we got this last year, the first budget, that I guess, her audit will be, Coffee County audit will be the first in early fall, and they're already visiting us on that for this fall. But I wanted to thank Mariana for her leadership, her guidance, her technical abilities, and all that she brings to the table in this county. Leaving no stone unturned, but that is a major accomplishment. First time in Coffee County history, and thank you.
All right, 10C, lead donation program.
You had that in your packet. That's been reviewed in all three caucuses. That was reviewed thoroughly in our PNC committee different times, and it's a good program. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion. Already got a motion by Ashley and second by Michael Lee. And so discussion on the lead donation program. Right, you raise your hand. You got numbers. Okay.
Well, I read over it, and I did have a couple of questions, because obviously I wasn't here for the last 2 meetings. So, is there like, I think it's a great idea to be able to donate the hours, but let's say you have an employee that's only been here for 3 weeks, and they're going to be able to apply for any extended leave. Is there a limitation on how many, the time frame that they've worked for us to get the free time?
Tim, you recall, or actually you recall if that was reviewed, I don't know. She had a question about, say you got a brand new employee that's only been there about 3 weeks. And they have a situation to let go before this program.
Because they would still be under probation, they wouldn't have any sick leave or vacation time accumulated.
I think so. Good question, but I want to take it. You like to say the information? Okay. So, we had another question? Was that? Okay. Okay. Mike, you have a question?
Yes, when I read the thing, it wasn't clear to me what the equivalency basis was for the donation. It appears it's hours, not dollars, because one employee may be paid one rate, another employee a much different rate.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I can answer that. Really good. So it is hours, and it's essentially, they're just donating time so that the employee, as I would take it, would stay on their own pay. They don't get a bump in pay, they would stay on their own. It's just their hours that they maintain. So the time is donated, but the employee stays the same rate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I was asking, it made a statement in there that there's no impact to the budget. There could be if a employee making $10 an hour, donates time to someone making $20 an hour. They just transitioned for that person. That is an impacted budget.
Yeah, it should be high work hours. I mean, it balances out. But I
It
would
could
say-
balance out.
I will say this is adopted from Tullahoma. Tullahoma has done this for several years. And it is adopted from there. And then as far as Helen's question, I do think it would still apply for people that even just started. They may be on probationary period, but if you tell them no, it can get sticky with, if it's like interrelated or something where they do need extended time, it can get really sticky and if you deny that. So it would probably still have to be applied. However, I will say Tullahoma has had this several years. My husband has worked for Tullahoma for 15 years, and they have only had to use this twice. It is very, very rare.
And the purpose of it is outstanding purpose. Help our team members. Tim.
Yeah, we did model this after Tullahoma. I hate to prefer back to Tullahoma, but in, the 30 plus years that I've been doing this, and I don't know how long this has been enacted in Tullahoma, but I've donated to that program countless number of times because I have, working the job that I work, I've accumulated quite a bit of sick time. And, I've donated 40 hours to employees in the city that every time I get a leave slip, I'll donate it, but it is based off hours in Tullahoma, so, and I think that's what we're, you have to talk to Mariana, because she has worked for the city also, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be based off of, but it's a program that I think this county needs that will benefit the employees that are in need in a time of crisis for them, so. And to answer your question, I would think that an employee that's still on probation would get this benefit also.
Other comments or discussion?
I'm not against the program, but I'd like to see the things cleared up we've been asking, so future looks at it won't be questioned what the intent was.
Tim, if you put on your agenda or discussion to next meeting to review those two items or both clarification, whatever on that. Okay. Any other discussion? There being none, let's vote, please.
I have a point. If there's something hanging, maybe we just need to delay it until the next meeting. I mean, as what happens is, if we don't fix it, then it's really hard to come back around.
So I'll entertain a motion to postpone it. Don't know which buttons we push, but and I have no problem with that. We've been with that for years, but we're just trying to get as perfect a model as we can. Motion and second to post.
Delay it to the next school year.
Postpone to the next, okay. And,
We're still showing under discussion.
pardon? Yeah, we're still discussing the lead donation program, but I'll give Don a minute. Sure. Yeah, the sheriff was the sponsor of that, so I'll recognize him this time.
Okay. To clarify, I'll give you a little more discussion on this. I was the one that brought this to the PNC committee and brought this forward as a county employee. Mr. Miller, you had a concern when talking about the hours. The intent of this is to help a person an employee, a dedicated employee to move forward. Heaven forbid we have a deputy sheriff that's hired and he's still on probation and he gets shot and he's done his duty to hell, but he's on a trip of recovery. It's going to give a lot of long-time employees across this whole county pool to donate no more than so many hours towards that employee to help them get through that recovery and get back to work so that we don't lose that employee. As far as the hours, it's only going to be extended to them to the amount of time for that recovery until they come back to work. So nobody's going to be banking, you know, if I have a $10 hour employee that gets hurt and then I have a $20 an hour employee donating to that, it's actually just going to zero out. They've got to go, in the section here, they've got to go 5 days without pay before this even kicks in. And then there's a caveat in there that says we're only allowed to donate so much time. So it's not, the intent of it is not to build time, and it's left up to the department heads and the elected officials to monitor that so that that time is only generated to extend them to get back to work. And if we need to put something in that, I'd be more than happy to go back and review that. Manchester City's been doing this as well for several years. But I wanted the rest of the commission to understand this is not a program trying to make somebody some money, but there has been times that we've had employees go to work, say they were involved in a car accident or they were involved in some kind of accident that was pro-duty and accidental murder. And this is extended to all county employees. In other words, I could donate time, or an employee could donate time to the clerk's office or the tax assessor's office to an employee like that. But it's something that we really needed to look at for many years, and we finally got it to the table. I hope that might clarify a little bit the intent behind it.
I think that's why we're talking about clarifying, because it's not completely clear now when you read it, whether it's time, whether it's dollars.
Well, it's hours. I mean,
It's hours.
But when you say there's no impact, the only way there's really no impact is to convert those hours to a dollar amount.
But
Each person can walk out of here with their vacation and get paid for it, or their sick leave and get paid for it. But if a $10 man walks out, it's less impact than a $20 man walks out. So what we did, where I was we converted that. You came in and donated 40 hours. You made $10 an hour, that's a $400 donation. This person's making $20 an hour, he only got $20 hours benefits. So more people have to.
Well, it's automatically converted. It goes, if no matter who the hours are, when it goes to payroll, it's automatically converted to their time sheet at the rate in which that employee is hired in.
I understand, but there can't be such an impact to it.
That's only if they're doing it as an accrual. They're not going to accrue it. They've got it's going to only go out until the time that they're using it. And I may be looking at that. That's not what I'm reading.
This person's asking
Point of privilege, would commissioners please use their microphone so we can all hear what you're saying?
I can only say that when we donate, you know, I've donated, I don't know how many hours to people. And I have donated 40 hours to somebody, and 2 weeks later, I get 40 hours put back in my pocket. They're not going to bank that 40 hours into that person's account. As soon as he comes back to work, they're going to allot the sick time of the people that's donated back to those people. And that person's only going to use the sick time up to the point that he comes back to work, and then it automatically goes back to the people. And like you say, like Sheriff Parker was saying, it gets converted back down to the hours, I mean to the pay rate that they're at. Well, it gets an accrual thing.
But we don't pay out on sick time. We only pay out on vacation time. If that person did quit while they were out using this, they don't get it, they lose it. It's not paid out to them. In Coffee County government, you're not paid out for your sick time. No, sir. No, sir. If that's the case, I'd have a both retired. No, sir, you're not.
I'm talking about our rating, I can read that.
Right. No, it's just hour for hour is all. It's just one swap. That's it.
Well, I just want to comment, employees that were hired July 1st, 2014, that are on the 401K, they're able to get paid out sick leave, depending on how many years they're here. Remember, opted out of TCRS at that time, and that is a benefit of savings. You do get a portion of your sick leave paid out.
It's my mistake. I'm not part of that plan.
Thank you, Mary Ann, for that clarification. Okay, Chair recognizes Lynn. Are you, Tim, were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, Lynn.
So I just wanted to say, I don't think the document I have in front of me is unclear. It clearly says hours. The question is not whether the document says hours. The question is also not clear about whether it's a person who's full-time and work a week. It says a person who's full-time employee is available. So that part's clear. The only question is whether the commission is not happy with that, wants to change it. It is clear what the document says. As far as the hours swap, you know, if the county right now, on any given day, has a certain, liability on the books for sick leave, and it's quite right to the extent that if people trade across, that sick leave liability may shift around a little bit. But in my mind, it's a small amount. It's probably not worth worrying about in the grand scheme of things if we're trying to provide a benefit to our county employees that they don't have now.
Okay, Helen.
I think it was pretty much cleared up from what everyone has said, but if you rationalize this, anybody that's going to be giving a long period of hours, they've been here a long time anyway, and they're probably got the higher rate that's going to the lower rate person. So
True.
I think that it's fine, it just wasn't clarified on whether or not a new employee could have it.
Okay, Ashley.
I just want to clarify, the employee that is injured or has to take off has to use all of their sick time and be depleted of it before this applies. So, and the only thing that will apply is what is donated until they can come back and recover. So if they only need another week and we just take care of another 40 hours, but say 120 hours were donated, they don't keep that other time. They're completely depleted of their sick time and they only use the 40 hours. We get the rest of that back. So I just want to clarify all that.
Thank you, Ashley.
No, I'll withdraw my amendment.
Withdraw. So Mark withdraws her motion to withdraw. Like that. So far. The second, we ever got a second. So back to the main motion to approve. Any further discussion on the main motion? Okay, there being none, let's vote please.
Still saying motion to amend.
Okay. She's done. She's doing a great job on we'll run the system. Okay. Sheriff, thank you for your comments and all of your comments. And Mary, thank you for your comments. Vote please.
It's still up, as we come back down here, so we're great. We don't have Charlotte's vote. There we go, great.
Glad to have the back of it. Yes, thank you.
Resolution 2019-10, adoption of the state approved hotel. 10D, transitional duty program.
We have that in front of you, and I know key risk area there that really helps us in working this out. But so with that in mind, I'll ask for a motion to approve the transitional duty program. We have a motion by Dennis, and a second by Rosemary. Okay, discussion. Transitional duty program. Motion second. Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. Yes, thank you.
Okay, 10A, Resolution 2019-10, Resolution to amend Resolution number 2019-03 and to implement by a 2/3 majority vote a privilege tax of 2.5% authorized by the State General Assembly on April 15, 2019, and approved by the Governor on April 25, 2019, thereby adopting and implementing a hotel motel tax throughout Coffee County.
And I want to thank Representative Russ Brickett for putting this on the table. It was reviewed thoroughly and went through different, I don't understand that process, we went through different hearings, whatever, and then started at 5% and 3% and now down to 2.5%. But I appreciate Russ submitted that and walking through the process and getting that to for full approval as far as that resolution and being signed by the governor. And then in a few moments, if he needs to comment on that, I'll recognize him in a few moments. But this time I'll call for the vote to approve the resolution as submitted. We got it. Just got to a motion by David, second by Lynn. Thanks, sir. Discussion.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, active first.
So, as stated in our caucus meeting last night, I just had an issue with page number 2 under B. The statement that says for clarification, this definition does not have application.
Speak up a little, please.
Yeah. It's page number 2B. For clarification, this definition does not have application to any special event for which the promoter of that event authorizes attendees to that event to stay overnight on the premises for which such utilization is only for the purpose of the event. I I think I would agree with this resolution if that statement was removed. And the reason I stated that is because I feel as if hotel, and it's in quotes in the resolution, is defined already by the state. A dwelling, lodging, or sleeping purposes includes any hotel, inn, campground, tourist camp, tourist court, tourist cabin, motel, or any place in which rooms, lodgings, or accommodations are furnished to transients for consideration. I feel as if this is setting us up for failure, that statement. And two, I feel as if it is leaving us open for a lawsuit should this happen. And we all know a lawsuit is the last thing that we need. And the reason I bring that up is because I work in hotel accommodations every day and have for 11 years now. I've seen what hotel lobbyists can do, and I see what they can fight. And I guarantee you they would fight that. I also do not think it's fair for mom and pop campgrounds. For instance, there is one in the district I serve. You're basically allowing attendees to stay overnight on the premises for which such utilization is only for the purpose of the event. So if a mom and pop campground has like a bonfire s'mores night as just an event to get people to come in, are they exempt from that as well?
They would be if that was the only utilization, but if they operate a campground as a campground, and that's their nature of their business, they would be included.
I think that's a strict argument. I think that could seriously be argued.
Well, let me tell you something about law and cases law. Every side, every contingent can and will be argued. And I'll give you a perfect example of it. I just read on the news about the litigation that ended in the Supreme Court about the tax on the liquor tax being divided with the school system. And what do we have in that situation? We have Court of Appeals in one section having ruled one way on 2 cases, Court of Appeals in another section having ruled the opposite way, and the Supreme Court picks one over the other. Those things happen. There's interpretation of law, and there could be strained interpretation sometimes. In your email, you referenced it, and I called you a few times. I wanted to try to discuss that because a lot of times we generate no problem, just battering down up here that we could discuss in private. But you look at the nature of it. If you look at like Monterey, for example, that you mentioned, that doesn't strike me like a hotel or a campground. That is an event that has things tangent to it. Here a few days, they understand that they discussed if they set up a regular thing where they operate a business as such for renting stay and campground, that'd be a different situation, and they would come within.
I have to argue
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
We have a need in the county to draw benefit off of the tax that can be available to us. So it's something we need. We also have a good situation with Monterey, which we don't want to try to poison anyway. So we've got a win-win situation. And you say, well, you'd like it okay if it didn't have that last sentence. That sentence is a clarification. The court can always interpret that that's intended as a clarification, and it says that. And there's a severability clause in here. And so consequently, if a court looked at it and said, well, that's in conflict with the statute. Okay, strike out, the rest of the statute is still there. So it's not a real problem. Don't associate a lawsuit to interpret a statute as being a healing lawsuit. I know that's what everybody's thinking. At the healing lawsuit, if we get sued, we're looking to lose $1 million. You got a suit on this, you'd be looking for the court to make an interpretation of the statute. It's what's called a declaratory judgment lawsuit, which I think I mentioned. Commissions and times past on certain things. That's in essence what you have. You could have a challenge lawsuit. The bottom line would be interpreting the statute, and maybe one party say, I think this is improper. Well, then the court would decide it was or it wasn't. But in the past, there's been a lot that's gone into this. It's beneficial to the county. And any of these places that have rentals overnight, having this provision in there does not hurt them because they benefit by having Bonnaroo here too, because when Bonnaroo, one of those special events is here, all those places are full. So it's to their benefit really not to drive that away. It's a win-win situation if we don't tamper with it too much and create a problem. And if it's a challenge on it, we'll address it at that time, but it'd only be an interpretation of whether or not it did apply to them or it didn't apply to them, and we'll deal with that at this time, at that time. It's not a Keeling lawsuit, and I know that's what everybody reacts to when they're thinking about it out there on that, but it's totally different. Please understand it.
My only comment is, I don't see how you can say Bonner is different when they call it a campground and they also charge for a camping pass. It is the same thing as calling it a campground and charging to camp overnight. I appreciate Bonner, I appreciate everything they do, I seriously do. However, Bonner is here 4 to 5 days out of the year. We are a county that operates the other 360. I don't feel as if we need to be making provisions to certain events that come in for 4 or 5 days of the year. It is a slap in the face to the rest of our business owners that are here 365.
First off, these that come in those days helps the other business owners, a lot generated by it. But if it's determined at some point we need to negotiate an event tax, we have the opportunity to do that. It should not be lumped in my opinion, as a hotel tax. And you talk about the situation, you say that there are 5 days, you go over there and rent a campground spot, the other 360, no, you couldn't, because it's not a campground operation. It's a special event. And that's a logical interpretation. Yes, you can have you could interpret a lot of things as a stretch, but that one would be a stretch. And the situation in that Attorney General opinion that you referenced, the fact situation is quite different in that. Those were houseboats set up on a lake that were designed for overnight stay, and that was the business. You go there, you rent them for a week, you stay on the lake, either stationary or floating around. That fits really the definition of a hotel operation under this definition. But under the statutory definition, you could stretch it to get a lot of things. But in this one, I think you have to stretch it to do it. Whereas the boat was a logical interpretation.
Lynn?
So, thank you to Mr. Husky, because I wanted him to talk about what that meant, that phrase, a little bit, so I appreciate that explanation. Now, I want to address something Ashley said, which I appreciate the comment. It's not a new debate about giving Bonnaroo, quote, a special break. So I've been on the economic board for the city of Tulsa now for 8 years. We started forming that 10 years ago. There's really no difference in this discussion and the same discussion we have every time with whether we're going to tax break somebody in the industrial park, which we do all the time. When we set up our board, one of the things we talked about was trying to set up a set of policies to implement these sort of things fairly. And in my mind, the point I argued in, which most of our board has always agreed with, is we set forth some principles in doing that. Principle number one is we don't harm other businesses in the community by doing that. And so when we bring in a manufacturing industry into our industrial park, or our Publix into our, when you might argue, actually we didn't pass the tax increment actually for Publix, if they ended up being the beneficiary of that. But the idea there is I'm not going to pass a tax break that hurts the competitor. In industrial park, we don't generally do that, right? We bring in a new business that doesn't exist. They're not competing with our local businesses. And if they are, it's to a minimal extent. And so that's one. And second of all, that there's a net benefit to the county as a whole by doing that. We don't just give out a tax break just because they're our buddy, even if it wasn't going to hurt somebody else, unless it's a net benefit to the county. I don't feel like this kind of exclusion would be any different with Bonnaroo. We're not, by giving them a break on the tax for, quote, camping, competing with anybody else. As we all know, everybody else is booked too. And secondarily, the benefit to the county for having Bonnaroo here would justify that sort of special break. And it is a special break. I won't argue with that. And some people feel strongly that that's not fair. We should never do that. The fact of the matter is, all the other venues are doing that. One of the risks of anybody leaving, like Bonnaroo or any other business, is somebody else is going to offer them that break if we don't. And so as long as we're not harming ourselves and we see a benefit, I have no objection. I'm fine with the language as it is. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ray. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Hart.
I have a question to implement this tax. The way I read it, Coffee County collects it, not the state of Tennessee, correct?
Correct.
Who, what office?
County clerk.
Clerk, okay. Do you think you'll have to add extra staff or anything to handle it? Okay. Second question, I see in the definitions that campgrounds are in there. Will this apply to Old Stone Fort's campground?
I'm not familiar with their campground enough. Where if it's, is it state owned?
State park.
I generally don't think we tax state operations.
The reason I'm asking, I've got, in my district, I have, not only do I represent Bonneville, I represent the KOA campground.
And campground, KOA would.
If this is implemented, I mean, he and I had a long discussion about it today, Whispering Oaks, Tennessee Hills, and KOA. And those three will see, they will be harmed because at least two of them are primarily local residents. I have a problem with taxing, using a lodging tax on somebody that owns their own home. I'm an RVer. I have campers, there, that's a camper. That's our home. And to impose a lodging tax to stay in your own home, to me, is not fair. If the state of Tennessee is exempt, the people that stay now at Tennessee Hills or Whispering Oaks may start migrating to Old Stone Fort and maybe Cedar Point, Fan Camp out at the base and all that. It will do harm to those, at least those three rural campgrounds that are in Coffee County. And I have a problem with it and would like to see an exemption for campgrounds, camping in its entirety.
I don't think we can do that under statute because it is clearly stated in the statute that campgrounds are included.
I read that, but I was willing to chance the challenge. The hell, those mom and pop, as Mr. Kraft mentioned, the hotels by and large are large corporate entities. The campgrounds that are in our county are not.
That would need to be addressed back to Mr. Bridges back there.
Let's ask him.
Well, the state statute.
I'll repeat it. Could we exempt camping in its entirety? So we don't do harm to the rural, mom and pop owned campgrounds that are in our county.
Hey, by the way, the microphones, Dennis, I finally heard y'all. Y'all really do need to speak in the microphone. The first time I ever sat back here is in the audience, and so the citizens really do have a tough time hearing y'all if you don't speak in the microphone. First of all, I'm not a lawyer. The statutes dealing with hotel motel tax is in the state statutes. So to carve out a definition of eliminating camping in y'all's resolution might work, but it could be challenged. I know the special event is a totally different animal than regular camping, but that in itself might have some challenge issues by somebody. I don't know who that person will be. I'm not in that position. But anytime you deviate from what's actually in Tennessee code, you're opening up a challenging situation because it is a hotel motel tax that's supposed to be applied by statute. And the statute has the definition of what a hotel is. And so anytime you go away from it, I think you're opening yourself up.
Rush, you might not have understood what I was actually saying. When I was referring back to you, what I was telling was, no, we can't delete campgrounds because it's spelled out specifically. The statute, if he wanted that changed, he'd have to go to you to get it changed to the legislature.
There's no question. I think that's fairly clear. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Rush. Okay, Dwight?
My question is not about Bonnaroo, it's about this.
Well, excuse me, Dwight, let's go. Mike's on first. I don't know, red, so I don't want to have it. Mike, you first.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things that I want to ask and say. First of all, this tax, Bonnaroo, Exit 111 Festival, any of those, they're not going to pay this. That's going to be passed right along to the people that are buying the tickets. I'm totally in support of all the festivals and industries that we can get in. But I'm also looking at, we have a minimum tax base, and we're struggling to make every dime count as it is. That's my take on that. Secondly, it's not necessarily the resolution. My problem is the timing. I got this last night for 24 hours to look at this. Some commissioners, if they weren't able to attend a caucus meeting last night, saw this for the first time 5 minutes before we started. That has got to end. We've done this now 3 times. It's about money or revenue each time. And I don't like having to make a decision without a little bit of time to investigate it for myself. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the most experienced guy. But I do know this. I need a little time, and 24 hours is not good.
I understand that. The reason why it was presented at the last minute is because it just passed in the legislature. I saw it in the paper, and we really also get it through to get it in as quick as possible to the commission. We couldn't come back and present a resolution and try to address it before the state assembly or general assembly acted. Once they did, we hopped on it immediately and really put the time in to get it. If the commission chooses to delay on it, that's one thing, but I think we've got to, we could fight forever on this exclusion thing, but you know, the commission voted earlier to request that the state legislature the authority to do this. It's financially beneficial to us, and we tried to pass it by 2/3 vote, as you know, as it was gone over at that time. So it's not a new thing. It's something we planned on doing. It's just, and the language in it, this issue about a special event is something that was just raised at the last minute. And nobody contemplated flying that because it was not a hotel. It was nothing like a hotel. It was, and so it was designed to be for the hotels and campgrounds as a logical interpretation of the statutes would be. And so it was after the resolution, or while the resolution was being drawn itself, that issue first raised its head.
Which is why I go right back to my original point. Don't stick it in front of my face 24 hours before, when we haven't had time to even look at it, and let's try to vote. Now, hold on, let me finish. I'll let you finish. I would like to have enough time to look at this, because basically my thought of it is this. If we're going to make $500,000 in tax from that, great. If we can make $750,000 in tax and nobody's harmed though, I think I'd like to have the extra revenue so that we might give our sheriffs and gives men some raises, the EMS and those guys some raises, and maybe the teachers some raises as well. If we're going to implement this, let's do it to the effect that it helps our county.
And another thing on the rush reading it was trying to put it in as quickly because we know during the month of June, the hotels and motels in Coffee County are going to be full. That would be the reason for us to extra revenue to bring for that. Commission chooses to delay it, that's your call. But we got it in front of you where you can do with it what you choose. And that's the reason for the rush, because it could be more money for the county.
Right.
Is it my understanding that this isn't going to take effect before July 1st? The soonest anyway?
June 1, but let me look. I got the blank there, blank, it could be whatever they get put in there.
Well, my question is not about Monterey, it's primarily the wording in this clarification.
Okay.
What if a hotel, motel, everyday hotel, motel decides they want to have a special event? Do they get to exempt those rooms for the duration of that special event?
No, it wouldn't, or I guess anything could always be interpreted, but I've spoken to some representatives of Bonnaroo, and they realize that the reason it wouldn't work for them because they're still operating that hotel motel as a hotel motel business. Setting it aside for one day wouldn't change what it is. And Bonnaroo understands, I mentioned to them, if they've got all that land there and they've allowed people to camp there, they might decide at some point they wanted to have campgrounds there where, when it's not Bonnaroo times, people can come there and camp. And if they did, then they fall out of that special event category and they're a campground. But they're not now, but they could be if they did that, and they understand that. And so, by logic, if you had a hotel operation that wanted to hold a special event, that wouldn't change it from being a hotel. They're still, that's their nature. Okay.
It wouldn't change it from being a hotel, but I'm not sure this clarification clears that. If they can call it a special event, I'm not convinced they can't claim the same exemption.
I assume those people there, if that place wasn't available for rent, absent that special event, it'd still be a hotel. But if it was available, if it wasn't available otherwise for the special event, it wouldn't be a hotel. It'd be just a special event. But if it's available other times as a hotel, then it's still a hotel. You can't have an event that changes the nature of it just in and of itself.
So that, you think, is covered under this part where it says, for which such utilization is only for the purpose of the event?
Yeah.
Chair recognizes David.
My thoughts, as I read this and listen to the comments, I just kind of think of other events that go on in the state of Tennessee, and 2 times a year we have races in Bristol, Tennessee, and that speedway has a campground. People buy tickets, you have to buy a pass to camp at their campground. So I see that being a problem. I see local campgrounds feel like that, they should be given the exclusion. But I have to ask the folks from Bonnaroo, if you have the event, are you charging people to camp at the grounds? People buy a ticket to camp at Bonnaroo when they're here, correct?
I'm Sam Reed, I represent Bonnaroo. Thank you for the question. So we have lots of different types of passes that get sold. I looked at this the other day, and you can purchase a parking pass for a day. You can purchase a car pass, of which you can fit several people in it. You can purchase a all-inclusive, platinum pass that includes, you can also purchase an RV pass. But every person also has to purchase a ticket for the event, which also allows you to stay on the grounds. And then depending on which one of whether you're in GA parking or VIP parking or then that determines where you were staying or if we were in an RV. You know, we don't necessarily delineate or carve out a portion of the ticket sale that says this is what entitles you to stay on the grounds overnight. Well, we're in the festival concert business, right? And so we have priced our entire event accordingly. So for us, this is, you know, we were a part of this process throughout, and we've been watching this sort of closely throughout. And it was really just last week as Mr. Husky identified where we identified a question, I would say, that it might be, this could be interpreted as a tax on our guests. And so we put this in here to clarify the intent of what this discussion about this hotel motel tax has been all along. So hopefully that's helpful.
It's helpful, but it also poses another, just a comment. So think of the citizens that will purchase a ticket to go to Bonnaroo, but then they decide to stay at KOA. Should they be exempt from paying that tax because they chose to stay there and not on the grounds? Or they stayed at Tennessee Hills or wherever? I mean, to me, it's like, you know, one cannot pay a tax and the other one does. I think what's in the code is very clear. I don't think we need to be diluting it because I think we're opening ourselves up for a lot of problems in the future. Whether we consider it a, you know, just like a kind of gesture to do the exclusion, I think it's going to be a big problem.
I just have a quick question regarding page 3, section 3. It says the proceeds received by the county from the tax shall be utilized to support local tourism and economic development. It was mentioned that that could possibly mean the conference center. Is that our intention? Or do we have a general fund where this could go to benefit the actual county?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Just to repeat, Mr. Husky, I said it states that the tax shall be utilized to support local tourism and economic development. However, it has been stated that that could possibly all go to the conference center.
It has to fit into that category. That's a requirement that the state legislature placed on it. And so we were required to put that in there. But there's a lot of things that can go in there. I know as a reference, somebody suggested good things for that could be utilized for industrial development, apply. There's a lot of things that will fit into that category. And so then it will be used in that fashion in some manner, but it's not locked in one particular type, because a lot of things fall into that category.
Well, has anybody discussed as to what it could go towards or how we would split it up? Or, because I also don't want to vote for this if it is going all to the conference center.
I don't think.
No, it won't be going all to the conference center, no.
I anticipates that. But
that's not the intention at all.
You're going to decide that. You're going to decide that. You're the one deciding that. It's your county commission, your own commission, you're the one's going to decide what to do.
Right. But the language is, but it has to be to tourism and economic development. Later on, that defines as to how that is.
We have to put it on a motion, where we want to put it. I think we decided to do either.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up pretty soon, but the chair recognizes Ellen.
So what will the impact be if we decide to table this for our county? Because the way that I originally understood it is that we weren't going to be able to pass anything that's going to affect our route this year anyway, because their tickets have already been sold, correct? So if we table it, what's the impact going to be? I mean, so that people can look at it more deeply.
But we're hoping we don't have all the implementation of this will be with all the police have to do. We were hoping early on to have this effective by July 1. Yes, it will not apply to this year's Bonnaroo, but we're trying to get this through the process because I hate now for us to start missing down the road of 2 or 3 months. And then this 2 or 4 months of appropriate taxes due. So I've been tickled pink to get that July 1. That was part of what we talked about earlier. But I don't know if that answers your question or not. I don't know the answer to on that. But anyway, Lynn?
So just a couple more quick comments. In regards to the tax, like campgrounds, like paying tax on campground versus barn, we're talking about 2.5%. So this is not a large dollar value as far as that goes. But the Bonnery gentleman just mentioned something that I was concerned about, which is they don't break that on a ticket price right now. So if we are to impose this on Bonnery, they're going to have to change their pricing structure for all the passes. And I assume that's not a trivial process for you guys. To me, we're going to impose a lot of burden on them for that. And we can't raise all this money to go towards schools and police officers. It's just for economic development. So it's not that I wouldn't like to have the money, but I don't think we need as big a pot of money for that as we do some of the other things. This is limited in its usage. But at the end of the day, we asked the state legislators to pass something for us, which they have done. So regardless of the exact details, at the end of the day, we need to pass something resembling this bill or this resolution. But I would fully support tabling it so that people have time to think that stuff through, because it has been short notice. But I don't think we ought to derail the entire hotel motel tax over worrying about one particular issue.
Okay, Chair recognizes Emily.
Is my microphone working? Okay. I just have a little bit of information for some of the commissioners who may not know, and maybe not even you, Mr. Reed. I just tried to go and buy a ticket to Bonnaroo while we were talking, and my phone died, so I can't bring it up, but if anybody else wants to. After you purchase your ticket, you are then prompted to pick you can pick to have a car parking for campers. So if you're if you need a camper car pass, you pay an additional, I think it was $69.95 or something. So we're going to say $70 if you're going to camp in your car. If you're just needing a day parking pass, I think it was like $40. So there is an additional charge. So I guess somebody could theoretically say, well, yeah, but I'm riding with my buddy and I'm just bringing my tent. So I don't need one, but he needs one for his car. But there is an additional charge for camping. So I just think that kind of needs to be clarified to commissioners. And I think Mr. Ork asked the question earlier, and I don't think you answered it completely. And I'm not saying that changes anybody's opinion or doesn't, but let's just get the facts all out there. And there is an additional charge on the ticket for car camping. Okay, for a parking spot. I guess you can walk to Bonnaroo with your tent and then just set it up and you're not being charged. But if you don't, you have to have a way to get there, so.
Now you live as close as I do.
Okay, Mr. Rusty, you can take your tent.
So we have a motion and a second. No discussion. I'll call for vote, please.
So here's just a question on your voting system. How would we motion to pay?
Let me address that, please. You have two options on, well, you got, I guess, really more than two, but the motion to tables, if it passes, it tables it until it's brought off the table, which requires another motion and another vote. The motion to table, once it's made and seconded, it can't be debated. You can't say it's a good idea to table it or it's a bad idea to table it. Of course, y'all already had ample debate on the motion itself. The other option that sometimes is probably better than the table is the motion to postpone. Motion to postpone, you can say, let's postpone this till the June meeting. Then that means it's going to be put on the June meeting as unfinished business, and it can be brought back up then. And it's actually, when it's brought back up under unfinished business, it's a live motion because it was a motion to postpone. And that would be my recommendation rather than the motion to table. But you could do either way.
So Mayor, I have an additional question about this procedure. There's no motion to postpone on our screen, so how are we going to handle this if we want to do a motion to postpone? Any motion besides an amendment?
Probably to handle that.
Yeah, have it. Push the button.
I move that we amend this resolution by striking the last sentence in section B of page 2 that states, for clarification, this definition does not have application to any special event for which the promoter of that event authorizes attendees to that event to stay overnight on the premises for which such utilization is only for the purpose of the event.
Need a second to that amendment. Second to that.
No one had gotten the floor to make the motion to postpone, so he got the floor to make the motion to amend. And that's a live motion if it gets a second. If it doesn't get a second, it fails to make a second.
So are you withdrawing your motion to table?
I never heard of it.
I thought she heard it.
I make the motion to amend and strike.
Okay, so that's a motion on the floor.
That amendment is on the floor. It doesn't have a second to my knowledge. It does now.
Does now, Mr. Order. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to delete that one sentence. Okay, that's a motion on the floor. Okay. Then first, then Chair.
So if I understand it, it's not possible to make a motion to postpone this vote because somebody can hit the button here, but I can't hit a button to make a motion to postpone. We were in the middle of trying to answer that question, I believe, with our new voting system. How would the motion to postpone be made?
You can make honestly, you can make the motion to postpone anytime. It's a privileged motion. Under discussion under this, you can make a motion to postpone.
My question is not a parliamentary question. My question is a process question with our new voting system. How do we intend to handle things like that, that there's no button to push for, and while I'm trying to make the motion, or even to get the floor, is it just a matter of maybe getting the floor and requesting the mayor?
There's only a button to amend.
Right.
We don't have one where we can make a motion to postpone or table, so I think that's what you asked. So if we push amend and then we amend it to take the postpone it?
From the standpoint of parliamentary procedure, you know, the amendment is a separate thing. But from the standpoint of electronics, and this is something that may have to be looked into, it may be that anything besides the main motion has to come under the category of an amendment.
Okay, that's what I
Mom, question for you. If we start adjusting or amending or changing something on here, will this in any way endanger and cause us to be sent back to the legislature?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it tied in the act. Usually said that send it back by or yes, the time period is delayed so that.
Or if we just do that, we
I think we need to do it fairly quickly. Not this meeting and the next meeting. I said there was not a time said that I think we need to act promptly on it. We don't want to go out and make it with that. So we do need to consider that.
Send it back to.
If whatever we're going to do, approve them.
Yeah,
Send it back to the secretaries.
Right.
Don't go to secretary, don't go to legislature, go to secretaries.
Yeah, we'll get the final product back.
Yeah.
Final resolution back. Okay, sent to the secretary. Okay.
realize that there was a motion on the floor there. Sense anyway, but we're the ones that are here. I think people have a lot of different opinions and they don't understand. I think it would be worthwhile to postpone this discussion before we strike that clause until the next meeting. Give the honored folks a chance to really think about it and respond to it. You've already sent us a letter, which I appreciate, and I assume it's okay for us to send letters of questions to you, so I encourage all commissioners to do that. But I would move that we postpone this item until the next meeting.
I think we have a motion on the floor to delete that one section, but you can, okay. And so a motion to postpone to the next meeting? Okay. We have a second by, right?
We're going to push the amend that now and make that. To do the
These four that have hit here to raise a question, is that two? Okay, Lynn, you're still on. You have any? Okay. You're recognized in line.
You know, we haven't taken a vote yet, but I'm in favor of postponing, but I think maybe it would be good to let the Monroe representatives speak while they're here. They make the trouble of coming here, and so they won't have to come back.
I will recognize you.
My question was about the amendment. Does that still exclude Monterey? They're not a permanent camper.
Well, I think the exclusion would, I'm not talking about it. Anyone in the room is not perfect with you, raise your hand.
It's a partial response to that, if I understood you correctly. I don't think anybody interpreted it at the time we voted to ask the legislature to authorize us to adopt the hotel motel tax. None of us, I don't think anybody contemplated that time to have any involvement with Bonners. It was only when that issue came up the last couple of days that we thought it'd be better to clarify. Nobody was anticipating doing that one there and asking the permission to start.
Okay, actually, then the chair recognizes the same.
I'm just gonna say my piece. I would rather this go through where Bonnery pays a 2.5% tax, because it can benefit you guys as well, because as Lynn said, an event tax could come around later on, and I feel like that could be much higher than 2.5%, and it could hurt the festivals worse. So it's the lesser of the evils, and I feel like it's the most fair, and it would get less pushback from the local companies as well.
Okay, chair recognizes the same.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've appeared in front of this commission several times and been to many budget and finance meetings, and a lot of new faces in the audience on the commission. And I think, you know, some extra time here would be good, because I think there is, there's, you know, we sent a letter this afternoon, but I think it's really important for the folks in this room to really have a good understanding of the impact that Bonnaroo and now Exit 111, our new festival, has for this area and for the county. And I would really love to be able to walk everybody through that. We had many discussions here over the last several years. At no point were we talking about an event tax or a hotel motel tax that through some unintended consequence might apply to us. What we bring to this community, in short, and this year is going to be one of our best years that we've had in several years, and the commission should be, in my view, should be cheering that, because what that means is an extraordinary amount of economic development we bring to this area. I mean, we've estimated, and, you know, Mary Ann and I've gone through the records, the Bonnaroo means something like 1.2 to 1.5 million dollars in sales taxes for the activity that goes on that site for 5 days. We're now bringing more events to that area. I think I've heard references several times of this provision being some sort of special treatment for Bonnaroo, or that, you know, we're not paying our fair share somehow. I mean, the things that we have done for this community over the years, just in terms of providing for the, you know, bottom line, for the things that we do for nonprofits, through the, you know, Bonnaroo Works Fund, that gives nearly $300,000 every year. You know, we helped the county close a budget shortfall last year. We paid for an ambulance for the county, repaved, you know, the parking lots of 2 libraries. We don't get any special treatment from this county, none whatsoever. We don't get any breaks. We pay our fair share at every turn, including reimbursing for all the costs that we have for, you know, fire, police, public safety. We pay all of that. And, you know, I hear this, you know, well, a 2.5% hotel motel tax that was never intended to apply to us. Now, all of a sudden, here in these last few days, there's been chatter of it applying to us. You know, that's lesser of an evil than maybe a 5 or 8% tax that could be applied to us. You know, the Manchester Times wrote last year that, you know, by imposing additional regulation and taxation upon this special event that has been here, made Coffee County our home for 19 years, and has enjoyed a really great partnership with the county. You know, to continue to do that and think that that's okay and that we'll just continue to take it, you know, you may end up killing the golden goose here. So if we want to have a debate about should Bonnaroo be taxed, should there be an additional special tax on top of all the other things that we currently pay for, let's have that debate. Let's not sneak through a hotel motel tax that was never intended to apply to us, that might apply to us. So this is simply a clarification. And if you want to remove it, I'd say that you're attempting to create a special tax for Bonnaroo. I would love to come back when we debate this, if this motion to table goes through, but I would suggest to members that they should absolutely support the clarification language.
Mayor, I make a comment. It crossed my mind, the question raised, you know, if we delete that clause, then we don't have the issue of whether or not it applies to Bonnaroo or not, and we won't be sued. It's not necessarily the case. What we've done, you know, as it reads right now, it's clear it's not intended to apply to it. If we take that out, then if we go to try to collect it, when we rarely initially didn't even think it would, we're going to have a lawsuit with Bonnaroo, I would think, because it wasn't intended to go through them. Taking that language out doesn't make it a campground in that sense. You still got to interpret it. And so my recommendation is better to leave it in there because you don't solve the problem and take it out. It can be challenged, it can be, but if it is, what the result would be, you just take out that provision, which I would lose the rest.
Okay. Tricia, Chair recognizes Tricia.
Well, I think what needs to happen is Mr. Seaver, I think we need to hit the amend button and then.
We're at motion button
Well,
now,
that's
right?
fine. Pardon?
It's at a motion button now. She rolled back the last motion, I guess, because
We're at the original motion
so I just made a motion.
to table it and Mr. Rivers.
To postpone.
Postpone. I made a motion to postpone.
So we have a motion on the table to postpone to the next meeting. We have a second, okay? We got to work it. Okay.
I would like to know who told them that the hotel motel tax was never intended for them and where that information came from.
Repeat the question, Ashley. Who told, who the hotel?
Who told Bonnaroo that hotel motel tax was never intended for them and where that information came from? Because that is the very first I'm hearing of this.
Well, throughout this entire discussion, I never considered that even applying to Bonnaroo. I don't think any of us did.
Was it an assumption? That's my question. I feel like that was maybe an assumption that was led on, but it was never actually discussed. And I think that's a big problem too and has caused a lot of confusion.
Yeah, it was an assumption, but we never considered that. You won't call that an assumption. Yeah, we were assuming that it never applied. We didn't think of that.
We looked at the hotels and motels and raised the issue. If you recall the motion for resolution that was passed here that sent it to the state, we spelled out our special situation to be able to draw benefit off the hotels and motels in the city limits. And that was the focus. I never heard any discussion about anywhere along the way about it having any application to the Bonnaroo or anything else like them at that time. It was for the hotels and motel campgrounds as we understood them. And the first indication I ever heard from somewhere, I think when somebody was looking into it and somebody raised that question and mentioned that Attorney General opinion in 2004 dealing with the houseboats. That's where it all came up just a few days ago. Prior to that, I never heard a thing about Bonnaroo, never heard anybody comment about it applying to Bonnaroo.
And that can't be the case because that was brought up last night and this was automatically applied in the resolution that we received yesterday before that was discussed.
Yeah, the question came up Wednesday or Thursday as it related to Bonnaroo. That was the first we heard of it, Wednesday or Thursday.
By who and how did that clarification get put in the resolution without any discussion from anybody else? And how did Bonnaroo know to come to the meeting and to argue that they didn't know that the taxes applied to them? That is my question.
My understanding on this, I got an email from Roxanne that said, I guess something that Bonnaroo had raised the question about if that was a backdoor way of trying to tax Bonnaroo. And, I was shocked. No, it's not. And so I called them and talked to them.
That was Wednesday or Thursday.
And that's what prompted me when I had to draw that part to put in that language because there was never any mention of Bonnaroo on it before that. So as far as I know, the first issue I had raised was Bonnaroo raising the question, if I interpret correctly, to make sure it wasn't around the corn trial to close the road, which was, and that was a shock because I never heard anybody mention it.
I personally would like to apologize to the residents of Bonnaroo for all of this. I think, in my mind, and certainly in my case, I never considered campgrounds and things like that because I didn't know what the statute said. I just knew we could get a hotel motel tax, and that seemed fairly clear to me. And we all decided that was something we wanted to see about. And I appreciate us getting this done. But I think it's come about because it was last minute. We didn't get a chance to ask each other questions and clear this up. It's caused all the problems. So I'm thinking we need to vote on Lynn's motion to postpone this and invite the Bonnaroo reps back to our June meeting and have a work session before the meeting and get to ask all the questions and get this thing organized so it's not much of a canyon.
We're going to vote on that just in a moment. Chair recognizes
Just a quick comment. I'd like to mirror some of what Commissioner Miller said, and others that I've talked to. I think we all thought it was going to be hotel, motel, period. And it was coming as a surprise to me that we're taking us in there. I got a big problem. These guys didn't get where they're at. I mean, stupid. magically you're gonna probably see $1 camping fee to each individual. We might get $1,500 out of that. Motels and hotels in this town fill up at quadruple, if not 10 times their normal rate, and this 2.5% will apply to them. This is a festival. It is not a campground. Nobody's there except the week of the festival, and therefore their exemption is logical, and it should be supported. This resolution should be passed as written. That's all I got to say.
Okay. There's someone else that had a question, I believe.
Yeah, but
Okay. Okay. Being no further discussion, we're going to vote on the motion to postpone then to the first meeting in June on the 11th. That motion passed. I'll call for the vote.
Okay, 10F, budget amendments, capital projects.
This is 171, 2019. It says 14, but it should be 17. It's number 17. This is a decrease in the unassigned fund balance of $8,000 from general capital projects, and increase in the purchase of land. This is to purchase land to create a Veterans Park. That reduces our fund balance in general capital projects to $313,037. This was approved by Budget and Finance on May 7th.
Thank you, Mary Ann. So, you've heard the motion? We have a motion and a second. Yes. Okay, discussion. And of course, what we're doing is using that $8,000 to buy land there that be for the county and be leased to the veterans for a park there. Okay, and that was vetted through the first commission, voted on, and then we'll do the budget finance like we voted on as well. Pass on to you. So, discussion. There being none, let's vote, please. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner, for welcome back. Thank you for supporting our veterans. This is a very good, worthwhile project, and I hope we will have the gazebos and whatever there, so it's a good way to support our veterans. So thank you so much for that.
10G, Resolution 2019-11, resolution to amend the Coffee County Animal Control Standard Operating Procedure.
This has been reviewed, coming from HWR, and been reviewed last night in the different offices. So we have a motion and a second, all right? Discussion. Thank you for the motion and second. We have a motion, excuse me, do we have discussion on the motion? Chair recognizes Lynn.
All right, so I guess I'm gonna fall down tonight. We were talking about this last night at the Total Home Caucus meeting, and we took note of on the very first page that you have, which is under the subscript, page 7, item 12, the time to hold the animal should be held for a period of not less than 3 working days, or if they're microchipped, 5 working days. So that's a change from the original. It's actually a reduction. And our discussion is, if you're gone on vacation, your dog gets out, and you're gone from town 7 days and come back, and your dog's gone because animal control could legally do something with your dog in that period of time. So I was going to move to amend to double time periods here for both of these categories, just for discussion's sake.
From 2 days to 4 days, or from?
Double.
Okay, Mr. Dennis.
So my amendment would be to change 3 working days to 6 working days, and the animal should be held in a period not less than 5 working days to 10 working days for collar microchip. So those 2 time days there in that item, I would move that we amend those to double that time that's there.
Okay, I chair recognize Ashley.
You have to have a second on that motion, so we're going to connect off.
In second, yes, and a second by, a motion by Ashley and a second. Okay, you talking about now, motion to amend?
Yeah, he made a motion to
Right.
amend, so can I talk or do you need
We need a
a second?
second to that motion to amend.
Not so you can punch it. That's the original motion. You never pushed the amendment button.
I did push it.
Yeah, we're setting on it, we're trying to sign.
Okay.
You just have to get it where somebody can say.
Okay, all
To
right.
amend.
Okay, we're accepting it.
Yeah, motion now and a,
Double the day, how days is that?
you have to double days to 6 and 10 days. This motion to amend, so, chair recognizes Ashley.
That change came directly from animal control themselves, and the fact is because the shelter is staying so crowded, most people do come and get their animals within 1 to 2 days. However, keeping it 6 to 10 days hurts other animals that come in that actually need something and don't have a place to go. But also, this was really done, guys, because I'm going to be real. Personal responsibility needs to start occurring in this county. And for example, if you're on vacation and your dog escapes, number 1, why don't you have somebody watching your dog? And number 2, why is it not boarded or somewhere where it's safe? That's my problem. So I feel like that's giving more leeway for people to not hold personal responsibility for their property, AKA animal, because it is considered a property under Tennessee.
So I'll be glad to answer the last part of your question. I leave my dog regularly at my house, and I have somebody come and feed and check on him every day, but I don't pay somebody to sit in my house and watch my dog that entire time period. If most people are coming picking their dog up in the first couple of days, then it shouldn't be a problem. For the rare occasion, it won't be held longer. I'm just making the point that if somebody were to be out of town or even in the hospital or something, their dog got loose, they would basically have no opportunity to rescue their dog. And I'm just asking to consider that.
I would like to say if you have somebody watching your dog and checking on it every day, they would know within 1 day that it's gone. And then a phone call could be made to the shelter to keep an eye out for that dog. And a phone call or a message could be left to say, look, I am out of town. I know your hold is 3 days. However, I will not be back until 4 days. I will be there to pick it up. They would gladly make an exception. But this is for personal responsibility.
And any other discussion on the motion to amend? And a motion second. No other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. On the motion to amend to double these days. Passes. So motion to amend passes. Okay, now then we will go back to the motion as amended. Do we have a motion as amended? Okay, more discussion on these motions. Is there one motion? Chair recognizes Michael.
So what we've done now is go even further than what we already have. Right now, what is the law? So we've increased the days now by doing this instead of decreasing it. that my understanding?
Yes, you've increased the days.
So we've increased the days from what, not what the motion is, but what the resolution is. It's increasing the number of days on the original
Yes.
rule. What were the?
5 days.
So it went to 6.
It went to 6 and 10. It went to 6 and 10, so you doubled one of them.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
What we're doing, we're doubling the days that the dogs can be kept. Is that correct? Personal experience. Maybe I won't start crying because of the dog. But I adopted a dog at our shelter and paid the fee. And this has been just a few weeks ago. And he's cute little dog. I wound up with the dog. But anyway, the story goes that I adopted a dog. He would be taken to the vet clinic to be neutered. And it was on the fourth day, the day I was supposed to keep it up, I got a call saying, well, the people that lost this dog had showed up to claim it. So the 3 days was too quick. And, you know, of course, they had the story. As it turned out, the people that actually lost the dog got my phone number from that. And she said, you know, we decided we're going to keep this dog. And I said, it's really wonderful. So I went with the dog. So that is a good experience of how quick something like that can happen. That just wasn't enough time for the real owner to show up in front of the dog. It was a good after the dog.
So there's happy ending to that story. Okay, glad to hear happy ending to it. Okay. Any other thing?
So just real quick, I just want to make clear that I think overall I appreciate this resolution and we increase the fine, which I do support, and that certainly does support people being responsible for animals. Appreciate that.
And with, that was reviewed very thoroughly with HWR, and we needed to increase those fines because we do have so many, as they know in the world, so many repeat offenders, and this addresses a lot of that. And I really appreciate the work that the officers are doing. They're called out all hours of the night and the weekends and whatever, so I really appreciate the work they're doing. Any other discussion on the motion? As amended? Okay, let's go, please.
I will comment on the one thing made earlier about this hotel motel tax. There's certainly been no discussion or no motion in budget and finance about where that money will be used. We have had a request from the PBA Conference Center dedicated to them, but there's been no action taken on that.
Law enforcement.
Nothing new to report, but we will not have a meeting in June any longer.
Capital outlay.
I think the biggie that came out of capital outlay is the train deal for all the county buildings. And there was a There's a lot of discussion about floor covering in the old office within CCAP, and the fact that Robert Gillum does his very best to keep up with repairs and maintenance and all of the facilities, and his budget's pretty well completed. Just the old courthouse, we got to get something done there now that the weather has broken. We have one temperature, so we're painting. Hopefully, we can get the money put together to go with the restoration process of next year. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. We are discussing, we got to get some fire protection in our register of deeds records offices. The area where all the paper records are stored. We got to get something done there.
Mr. Chairman, when we were in our caucus, under the other, there was no budget for me to put for the RTS, but I believe that you were going to bring up today that we would like to do away with the caucuses and have a work session.
Oh, yes, sir. There was some discussion on that, and I guess are you suggesting that be put on for the next meeting, or for just further discussion among the legislative committee or whatever, or I know that was discussed, yes, appreciate you. That was discussed last night.
Correct. So I'm not familiar with the procedure on that. I don't think it should go to discussion. I think I would like to have it on the agenda then maybe for next month for us to discuss us having the sessions instead of having the caucus, because I think that it would have avoided all of this discussion regarding Waterloo, because at that point we could have all discussed it then and then voted on it tonight because we just weren't all aware of what was going down.
So you're suggesting put that on the agenda for the June meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay. We might note that. Okay. I didn't forget that thing.
Okay, Elmwood Farm Recreation.
HWR. Yeah.
We did not meet the last time for like before. We had people out and we had enough to do it. But I'd like to also thank Commissioner Kraft for her excellent work on the stand up her procedures.
Thank you.
She's done quite a bit of work with that, did all by herself.
A lot of time to research that, so thank you, guys.
Okay, legislative committee.
We meet the fourth Monday, pending agenda items being presented to us.
This month's
Memorial Day. It's going to be Memorial Day.
Not a good
Not a good day, is it?
Not a good day.
Well, we'll see if we got some agenda items, and if we do, then we'll move it to. I'll have to look at the calendar.
Okay.
Personnel compensation.
You're not gonna help me out here. I think we meet Monday, 20th. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Don't move it. Well, we're scheduled to meet the 22nd.
Wednesdays. Yes, it's 22nd, personnel comp 4:30 this coming Wednesday.
Okay, 22nd.
Wednesday week.
On Wednesday, 4:30.
No, we made it for Monday the 20th.
I thought we did. Is that correct, Joe? Monday the 20th.
Right.
Thank you. Other than that, I don't have nothing to report. We will meet Monday the 20th.
Thank you for correcting that.
Okay. Statements and announcements.
Your statements and announcements. Okay, public comments.
Tim Brown's not here, so I got to.
And I just straighten that.
So I'll just say a couple thank yous first. Thank you for straightening that up. Also to Miss Roxanne we had our Young Republican meeting. We didn't come pick up a ticket or keys during business hours, and she met me after hours to do that. So that was to the resolution was a 2019-10. I personally support that as written. Let my commissioner know that. I think that there's a lot of confusion out there kind of in the public. So I know you guys are going to have a work session, but I think it may be good maybe have a public hearing on that, or reach out to some of these businesses and get them in here and let them talk to it. I mean, we don't have a great show, so they may not come out even if you invite them. But I think that some more of those, maybe, I talked to a couple Tullahoma aldermen as well, and I think some of them felt in the dark. So something that I would love to see from our county and Manchester City and Tullahoma City, is you guys doing a little more reaching out to each other. I love the idea of getting rid of these caucuses, because this was kind of a mess. I got a lot of friends out here, and people that I respect, but this was kind of a mess. The last commission meeting was kind of a mess, with everybody being on completely different pages, nobody together. And I agree with Mr. Ray on commissioners not getting stuff until the night of the caucus. Like I saw some walking in with envelopes last time where they got the stuff day of. If they're not getting it until a couple days before the meeting or day of the meeting, that means the public has had no time to look at it either. And I think that it's important to remember that you guys' job is to listen to us and talk to us and represent what we say. And so I think having that time to get the public's opinion in there is extremely important. So I like to stress what I talked about earlier about getting some of that information out to the public as soon as possible. And let's stop rushing some of these things, and let's try to get on the same page and work as a group rather than a bunch of different people. That's it.
Thank you. I would. Yeah, we had those surveys. We passed those out yesterday to the caucuses. I think 2 or 3 turned them in last night. If you would, if you have those ready, please turn those in as far as topics that you'd like for us to review at before our regular meeting.
They just be me. I don't hear well anyhow, but I've had more problem understanding what people have been saying tonight than any commission meeting I can remember. Does anybody else notice that?
I couldn't hear much coming back from my podium. Yeah, coming back. May need to experiment with that. Let me, if I may, is that if you have any other comments, Mark? Okay. Would like to just make one comment regarding, we didn't plan to have these rushed upon you in the last minute like this, but I would mention too that Budget and Finance met last Tuesday night, and we tried to always send the packages out to you with the resolutions attached on the Wednesday, 1 week out. But the Budget and Finance didn't review some of those items until last Tuesday night. It was reviewed and passed on last Tuesday night to go ahead with the discussion on the train project and the hotel tax. So that really rushed the entire process up. It wasn't an attempt to confuse or thrust this on you last minute, but Mr. Husky took him time to research that. He spent a lot of time to research that because we want to get it right, and that's just the way the time unfortunately worked out this way. We weren't trying to put it on you at the last minute, but that in large part was because of the timing of the Budget and Finance meeting, last Tuesday weekend. We try to have those all out thoroughly vetted by the different committees and the resolutions prepared, and so they go into your packets on the week before. That's the way it worked out. It makes it hard on her too last minute, so we don't like to do it that way, but that's just the way it worked out this time. Any other public comments? Any other comments from the commission? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Somebody make a motion. Second by Jim Fieldy. Okay. This vote, please.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.